Hi, everyone. My name is Carla Torgerson. I'm the head of Learning Experience Strategy at Torrance Learning. And today I wanted to talk about a project that I was on recently that went really well. The client had a lot of performance support materials, but the big challenge was that people weren't really using them. So they had these release notes that came out monthly on how to use this piece of software that they used internally. And one would hope, of course, that the learners or the employees were reviewing those notes as they were coming out on a monthly basis. But of course, people get busy. They weren't seen as useful at the time and they weren't being used. So they had this wonderful library of performance support materials that were mostly not being used. And so what we did was two things. One is we looked at those performance support materials to make sure they were a little bit clearer, a little bit better organized so people could find what they needed when they needed, right? And then number two is we actually built a course around the use of that performance support material. So what we did was we built a course where we in fact told the learners just a little bit about a couple of the features they would find in the release notes. And then we asked them some questions, and we actually turned it into a quiz game of, can you find these things in those release notes? And so then they could go over to the release notes, look for some things, come back, answer these questions. And again, we added a bit of a game-like feel to make it sort of fun as well. And what I thought worked really well and was really interesting about this course is we didn't have to write a lot of instructional content because that was in the release notes. That already existed. And so rather than only using that as source content for us to then write the course, what we did instead was we drove learners to this existing material, which is what we want them to do every day on the job, right? Use that performance support material and then use that on the job, right? And so for the course, that's exactly the behavior we emphasized, right? Go to the performance support, come back and answer a couple of questions. And it seemed to work really well. The feedback that we've gotten both from the client and from learner groups so far has been really receptive and really positive. And we didn't reinvent the wheel, right? We didn't reinvent the materials that they already have. And again, we were able to reinforce the behavior that we actually want them to do on the job, which is double check those release notes when you don't know how to do something and be able to do that on the job. Now, I will say that this is a technique that I have learned from Bob Mosher, who is very, very focused in the performance support space. This idea of teaching people how to use the performance support so that when they're on the job, they actually use that performance support the way, as they need it to be able to do their jobs better. And so wanted to hear your thoughts. Tell us in the comments below what you think. Have you ever built a course around the performance support? Have you ever worked with performance support to try to make it a more viable and useful tool within your organization? Please go ahead, type in the chat, in the comments below, and let us know what you think.